Some of you guys need a little spice in your kitchen. Well, Tupperware has a spice system for you in your pantry. To go along with our Mate system, we have created the spices, okay? Our spice containers right here come in a large and in a small. Our large ones will hold about 8 ounces, and our small container holds about 4 ounces, okay? And they have these 2 sides to them, okay? One side, you can get a teaspoon down inside. So if you're measuring out a teaspoon of cinnamon or a teaspoon of spices, what's nice about it is our measuring spoons will fit perfectly down inside of there, and you can level it right off, okay? And so you can make that perfect level teaspoon. If you need a tablespoon, all you have to do is do 3 teaspoons. That'll give you a tablespoon. All right, so you got one side to get to scoop, and then the other side, you can sprinkle, okay? So if you're sprinkling your cinnamon, anything like that, I highly recommend that you use labels, all right? You can find these little labels online. You can get a label machine and label them yourself. You can use a little Sharpie if you want and write on there, but I use a little label maker, okay? I use the labels because my steak chop, my Italian blends, all start looking alike after a while, okay? And so you want to make sure you label them. Oh my goodness. And so you know what you're going to be making in the morning. This was hilarious. I was making my son's breakfast. It's early in the morning, and I'm sprinkling cinnamon on his oatmeal, and he's yelling at me going, Mom, Mom, Mom. I'm like, what? Because that's not cinnamon. I'm like, what? Oh, it was Chipotle seasoning. Yeah, we had to go to McDonald's. So make sure you take a look at the label on here, okay? I want to share with you that your spices are probably the most expensive product in your pantry. You know how much that little ounce of, or half an ounce, that little jar costs you when you go to the grocery store, $4, $5, $6 sometimes? Well, I did a little price comparison for you. I went and priced out 16 different spices, and I'm not talking about expensive spices, all right? I'm talking about, I'm not using unusual spices, normal spices you would have in your pantry: allspice, basil, bay leaves, black pepper, cayenne pepper, chili powder, cinnamon, cloves, cumin, dill, ginger, nutmeg, oregano, paprika, those types of things. So those 16 spices that I priced out, guys, this was years ago. So imagine what your spices cost you today with everything that's happening. Our spices, I filled up 16 of the large spice containers, okay, with those spices, and I priced them out at the grocery store. And at the grocery store, if I would have bought them, would have been around $742, okay? Now find yourself a nice bulk food store. I do have a beautiful bulk food store next to me, close to me. And so I went there and priced out my spices, the exact same spices, guys, not 642, not 542, but $122. That was a $600 markup on the spices. So you can see why you truly want to invest in spice containers. Now, when you take that container, yes, they look beautiful and they make them pretty and they're glass, but as soon as you take that twisty cap off, once you do that, your spices only stay fresh another 3 to 6 months, okay? In our spice containers, your spices can stay fresh for over a year, believe it or not, okay? And so just make sure they're sealed, snap shut, and you will be fine. I keep them in my pantry so they're out of the sunlight. You can always test your spices by rubbing them together. And if they have the aroma, that smell, then you know your spices are fresh, and that's why we want them. They're filled with nutrients. They're filled with vitamins. So you want to add a little spice to your cooking. You want to add a little spice to your kitchen. You want to definitely invest in our spice containers here. But you can use them also in other places or for other things. In my one spice container, I have BandAids, all right? Love BandAids, but their boxes don't really last. And I'm usually cutting my fingers in the kitchen and not in the bathroom. So instead of leaving a little trail all the way to the bathroom, I've got a handy dandy little BandAid right here. You can also use these for toothpicks so they're covered up and they don't get dust inside of that bottom of the little bowl or other things, okay? Toothpicks, BandAid. But these are also great for kids. I love Crayola crayons, but their boxes don't last very long. So these are great little traveling boxes for crayons, little markers, little activities, things like that. And so especially in the car, if you leave them in the car, if they happen to be in the sunlight, they're going to stay in the box and not all over the car seat, okay? So great to take in the churches. Oh, thinking of the baby diaper bag, you know that powdered baby powder and that little, that container, when you squish it, it like poofs all over the place. You've got baby powder everywhere. Great for your little baby powder too. And so you can sprinkle that out too. Highly recommend you label it and you keep it in the diaper bag, okay? So not only can you use it for your spices, but little crafts and sprinkles for baking, but perfect for all those needs. And you are going to spice up your dinners. You're going to be spicing up your kitchen and spicing up your life with our spice racks, with our spice containers. Yay!